Out of that court taking a break. So
yes,
so he supposed to be smoking.
Alright, better.
Is that better?
Way better.
Y'all can't come back.
But it's just an effect. It's just the flash effect. So you take the flash
You never
effect
came
off.
back.
When it's,
Right? Is that
5
better?
years.
No, I mean, like, when you're editing the other one,
freestyle
take the
live.
flash effect off and it'll be good.
Oh, it'll come out like that. From here instead of from
When I
here.
got back to Kansas City from Houston.
You probably have to do it on a computer, but you can transfer the
You
video.
know, I take an adventure.
Oh.
I was like 18 years old. I came back at 19. I built a studio on the third floor of my mama's house.
So look what that adventure got you.
Right. Shit.
Yeah. That's that leap.
I've been on adventures ever since.
This is like
that's
a Netflix original.
I'm gonna tell you, all this is God's time. Everything we do.
Word.
What's good, everybody? It's New Music Monday, right here on the Ride Along, Rough Riders Radio in the pit. This is your girl Info 40.
Daddy.
Hezzy, Hetero.
I feel like we've been doing this a long time.
He always has something different to say. And we have Rio Callix in the building,
Hey, yo,
in
what's
the
going
pit, right here from all the way from Chicago.
on? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Part of Chicago.
63rd. I grew up right out there.
So you chuckle when you said that.
Because a lot of people look down on my spot.
I never heard that. Who looks down on you?
I mean, I've heard through the grapevine 63rd is supposed to be the worst street or whatever. It just depends on where you go, though. Well, I could respect it good.
But if I'm not mistaken,
Lil Durk did say that.
There's two 63rds, right? The one on West and East. From them, is there
Yeah,
63rd?
there's two different sides.
So you from the side that just is widely known for not liking.
Yeah, and then I moved a little west. So I lived east, moved west once I got a little bit more money.
Did you still on 63rd?
Yeah, still. I ain't get that much money yet. It's still in the hood, but it's a better part of it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Wait, question real quick. There's a big Puerto Rican community out in Chicago?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
big time.
it's a whole little section of the city, pretty much, is its own city called Humble Park.
Yeah.
It's kind of starting to change up a little bit, but at one point, it was pretty much just Puerto Rico in Chicago. Like, you would walk in and that shit, damn near the weather would change in there. It's like, it would just feel different, you know? It's just saturated with Puerto Rican culture. Now it's a little bit less, you know, things get a little bit gentrified, and of course, as things change, like, certain buildings just don't exist anymore that used to be built by the people who came and created Humble Park in the first place. So, you know, some of that history and culture is getting a little lost, but at the same time, I mean, it's a give and take for everything, right?
Yeah.
So what were some of the you know, like just like different activities that you was into while you was over there on like? Cause did you grow up on 63rd all your life on the it's west, right?
East.
First.
Yeah, started off on the east side.
Started off
So,
on the east.
where I really like was born and grew up, I had like a little house with my family, but then my family had split for, you know, their little reasons, and then that's when I started living over east a little bit. I kind of lived there, I want to say like about 6-7 years, moved up, then stayed over the west side, and then after that just stayed between that and then my mom's crib up north too. So I bounced pretty much all over the city. I lived on the south, that was like home base, but then I also was in the north a lot. East, west side, the beach, so I just love exploring the city.
Music, sports.
Not as much, man. Soccer, baseball, really. Like, I love playing baseball, softball, especially throughout, like, you know, in high school. But all I really did most throughout school is, like, sit down and study, like, music mostly. I didn't even really pay attention in school to what they was teaching me. It was really just music for me. I was on my phone just trying to study.
So music always been there before sports.
Yeah, music really been there before anything. Like, even as far as I can remember, and as far as even my parents can remember, they would tell me, like, I'll sit down as a baby, put some headphones on, and, like, start a track. You know, back when it was, like, cassette tapes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I pushed a little cassette in, hit play. I guess I was, like, 3 or 4 years old. And my mom would tell me, like, I would sit there and, like, start listening, and she would see me, like, fake playing a guitar. Then I rewind it, play it again, and then she'd see me fake drumming, and then I rewind and play it again, and she'd see me starting to sing. So I was just always interested in, like, what made music or all the different elements of it since a baby.
You happen to remember, I know possibly can't, but any of the cassette tapes that you was listening to?
Man, all of it was Michael Jackson, I want to say Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, a lot of like the bigger just vocal influences for sure. A lot of salsa, a lot of
I was just
merengue,
gonna ask you,
bachata.
is there any Latin influence?
Man, you know, we grew up listening to one that I actually got to work with this year, and it was kind of like a dream come true. He's Ismael Rosa. He's like, he was a pretty big salsa artist here in Chicago, for example. Grew up listening to him.
Work with him?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, I
My
got
fault.
to do
You
it.
tell me my bad.
How'd you meet him? Like,
Yeah.
how'd that come about?
So it was a connection that I made through my management team through Urban Grind TV. They really
Shout
helped me
to
out with
Wally.
it. He was the barber of my manager. Eventually, they got to talking, got to finding out who each other were, and then he got back into music and producing. They heard what I was doing, and he was like, you know what, I want to make a song with you. And I was just like, one, a huge honor, and two, like, I got to work with somebody I grew up listening to.
That's amazing. And he chose you to do that.
So he told me, I want to make a song with you. I want you to like take the sound I got and modernize it and do your twist to it. I was like, wow, okay.
You said he was a barber?
Yeah, you cutting hair too?
Wait, the guy that you wanted to work with was cutting your
You
hair?
know what he had going on.
And then
Wow.
he made a connection, and through you, he was like, I want to do music again.
Yeah, basically, because he
Who
had
are you?
already.
He was Rio Callix.
Yeah, man, I don't know quite yet, but I'm starting to figure that out, you know. But I just love inspiring and working with people. I've learned a lot, especially through this, through Urban Grind. I've been working with a lot of people who've been in the industry for a long time that, like I said, I stayed in and studied my craft more than anything, so I don't know names or connections or anything like that. Like, I come out and shake somebody's hand and not really realize exactly who I'm talking to, but it's also why I talk with respect on the same level to everybody.
Or
But now I'm starting to learn who these people are and be like, wow, it's like everybody in a room I'm starting to meet is like a heavy hitter in some sort of way. But that's coming with like knowledge and understanding.
Yeah, like he was just about to breeze over the salsa.
Yeah. Oh, I did a feature.
They have that amazing story behind it.
That's rabbit hole. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the few things I've gotten to do, which I feel like have been pretty cool lately. But it's all been opportunities that like to have come from making great connections with people.
So is it hip hop or is it Latin
I was
hip hop?
just
Like,
about
what
to
are you
ask
doing?
I'm kind of doing it all. I mean, I want to say I'm more focused in Latin because my music is mostly in Spanish anyway.
Right.
And like English was really my second language. I had to learn it kind of growing up because I want to say I spoke Spanish only until about like 6, 7 years old.
Mhm.
And then that's when my parents had kind of tried to start teaching me English more. And I started watching movies and TV with subtitles. And then that's how I kind of learned like English and how it's supposed to be spoken, and the English people actually speak it, you know?
Mhm.
And I feel like sometimes my accent still comes out or like a lack of understanding here and then, but
His English
yeah,
is
but I
amazing.
do
What
try
are you
to
talking about?
branch
It's
out
better than
musically
mine.
with everything.
You know what's crazy? Like hearing that from another perspective, right? Because like I on and off like learn Spanish. Like I could, you know, pick up on certain things, probably say a few things back. But I would say the same thing. Like I try to learn how Spanish is supposed to be spoken and how people out here speaking with the slang. And hear that coming to the English side, I'm like, you know what?
When I was young, I spoke true Spanish. And then when I got to school was when I was in ESL for therydelong.
Man, when it came to learning, for example, like lingo in English, people would tell me certain things and I would just be so confused. Like, for example, I didn't really know that, like, can I cuss on you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, like, shit was, like, anything other than just shit, you know what I mean? So when people say that shit or that shit fire, whatever, I would always assume they were, like, talking shit to me, you know? And there again, talking shit, that's a whole different meaning behind that
Oh, I
same
get what you're
word.
saying, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that was one thing to me. I was like, wow, man, I could really
Slangs.
get
Yeah, the
in
slangs.
so much trouble. That's why I was just, man, every time I heard somebody say something to me, I would just kind of repeat it in the same context, and if they got offended, then I know they was trying to offend me, so we cool.
That's smart.
You know where you stand.
Mhm.
So, you know, you pretty much heavily diverse on both sides. Latin and hip hop, and you know I know a lot of artists like to say they got their own sound, but I would pretty much assume that you definitely do have your own sound coming like that, because unless I'm not listening hard enough, there's not too many artists that I know about that's actually doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they probably will do like a Spanish song or something like that, then everything else hip hop, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. Would you say like it's pretty much like equal balance on everything, or is it actually split?
I think it's really more of my influence comes from classical music and orchestrations, really, and rock music than anything else.
You like classical music?
Oh yeah, like I grew up.
Who's your favorite
really, like,
composer?
oh, sorry for damn short.
I respect that. Say somebody else, but I respect that.
Nah, man, but yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of classical music, and like since I was again 6 years old, I've been performing. I was playing like piano on stage
I knew it.
and playing guitar. I was in a band at one point for like 3 years playing guitar. So like all of my influences really come from creating orchestrations, because I was really trying to compose shit since I was 6 years old. So I started like writing out the different elements of music the way I wanted to. And now people have told me like when we work with them, when we create certain sounds, there's certain things, certain patterns that I do that's kind of outside of the norm, but it really is a classical tool that's been used for decades, centuries even, and people just have forgotten to implement. And I think that's really where my sound comes from.
You know how to read music?
Mm-hmm.
I know how to read music.
I read music and wrote it. Now I will say I'm not the best at it. It does escape me at times, and lately I haven't. I learned it throughout school, so I like kind of was professionally trained to read and write and perform music as well, and classical guitar.
When you say school, you mean college or just high school?
So in high school, we basically got to double major. You went throughout high school, and throughout those 4 years, you stayed an extra 2 to 3 hours in school to learn your instrument and your craft. So it was like 2 high schools at the same time, pretty much. It was just another 2 to 3 classes on top of it, additional, and then you would start going through like scholarships, sponsorships, internships with artists.
They threw us to the wolves out here.
He's doing
It was so hard to get in when we went into perform, because I used to dance too. I used to get us on stage and dance ballet and all that. So
okay.
I went in as a dancer. I tried to, my mom, man, it's really my mom's fault, because she was a dancer. She got really good at it. Then she was like, all right, cool, what else can I do?
Do you box?
I tried to. I'm not really a good boxer though, but
That would have been everything. I'd have been like, all right, you know what?
I tried to, but I'm not the best in the world.
So you're classically trained on the piano and dancing?
Ballet.
Yeah,
Ballet,
ballet. I'm trying to get back into dancing again, because I mean, like I said, when I joined the high school, you had to try out for something. If you weren't,
So you went to performing arts school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if you weren't doing something, you couldn't get in.
Right.
And I tried for dancing, didn't make it. Tried for guitar. There were maybe 50 of us that auditioned, and the class was about 5 or 6 deep. So it was like pretty hard to just get in the first place, and then to get the class you wanted to was also pretty tough. And once you graduated, man, that just opened all the doors, because you really, like I said, you spend all this time being a nerd and like really honing your craft, and instead of like getting out of school, going to have fun, going to do whatever you want, you kind of sit there like learning all the tedious parts of making and creating music. And it really takes you far, because now I'm at the age I'm at, I feel like, because I'm 26, I feel like I'm doing kinds of things that like producers way older than me or had barely started to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that comes from studying my craft and like trying to perfect it.
Are you still
before I even
studying?
do anything.
Are you still studying piano?
I still try.
Going to dance?
Tiny is a huge producer that I get influenced by. So I'm trying to study him. He's got master classes right now. You can buy them like top tier. Dancing, I'm trying to dance, but dancing's more like I don't know. I got taught professionally how to dance, and it kind of killed the emotion behind it for me, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was too choreographed.
Yeah, it became too technical.
Yeah.
And it was something that for me, I've always been pretty insecure growing up, and so it's why I spend so much time in the gym or so much time in front of a mirror, because I'm just like, every little piece is off, you know? So dancing is like you're putting your whole body in front of somebody and then moving in ways that people don't normally move, and expecting for them to interpret what you're trying to convey in a way where they're gonna understand your message.
This dude's deep.
Right. So is that why you went? Is that why you went to more music and singing or rapping or
I think so. I think I had a better like grasp on the concept of what you can convey musically, because I see music in a 3D space. Like I don't really see a song and think like it's a song. I'll see the vocals and have like I'll listen to the backups and the ad libs, and to me those are dance moves pretty much. You know what I mean? Like the whole song is a dance. So you have your vocals here, your bass underneath. That's like your ground floor, but the ground floor needs to also be alive. You can't just have a bass line that's boring. So each individual element has to in itself be extremely interesting. And then I'll try to create it in a 3D bubble, try to pan things to where it's like alive.
How many times have you said that before? Was that a freestyle just now?
Nope.
That was amazing.
Thought it. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was
it's so
hella
visual.
poetic. Yeah.
Wait,
Visual way to describe music. I love it.
Do you rap or sing or both?
I try to do both. I'm really more of a singer than a rapper or anything. Honestly, primarily a producer, and I've always wanted to sing and write, so I started doing it once I got good at producing. But man, I have like 500 songs in my computer that I'm never ever putting out. So just like the first few projects of me trying to figure out my voice and my style and all that.
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it. I understand it thoroughly.
I've always been told consistency was key, and I agree with that for sure, but I just couldn't bring myself to upload things that I didn't myself feel 100% on.
What's up, Dr. Dre?
Yeah, Dr. Dre's been putting on this album for like 25 years.
Yeah.
Man, like even now, I joined in with this like publishing company, and it should obviously would normally help boost what you do and all that, but it was again like now to me it wasn't so much now I have help to go push what I got out. To me it was like, oh okay, now there's more people that are gonna be watching what I do. There's gonna be there's a higher expectation, there's a bar that's set, and I have to come correct if I'm gonna put anything out with them, because they've already got other heavy hitters there. So I don't want to come with anything but the best, and I feel like that's kind of halted. That mentality definitely has kind of halted progress a little bit, to be honest.
Me personally, I feel like with that knowledge that you know, you should take that and run with it, but at the same time just be like, fuck it. The fact that all of them, say like if there's 5 of y'all, right? You included. If all 4 of them are structured the same way, stand out however which way you can. Fuck it. If they all doing this and they all like not saying like sound the same, but if they all sound like this, they all like this, and this is the reason why they here, I'm here too. I'm about to be the sore thumb. And especially with, like I said, like the sound that you got right now, that's a sore thumb. Like, cause like I said, I just don't hear it. Like, yeah, there's like Spanish artists, you know, like Bad Bunny and Well and all that other stuff, and you know, 6ix9ine does whatever he does, but with, like I said, the element of what you have, combining that both, that's always going to stick out to me. So.
I think also you should think is that if you're even in that space, you're already there for a reason. You don't have to elevate to a new height or go above and beyond. You're already there because they know. You know, they want what you have already.
I appreciate that. I really had to like learn that, because that was something I did think at one point. Like I had to stop myself from telling myself like, oh man, you're not as good as the rest of these people on there. You're not gonna do whatever. I was like, exactly what you said. Like, I'm here for a reason. I wouldn't be here if they didn't like what I was doing already. If they didn't already think that I was worth anything, you know. So that's what kind of helped me kind of calm down. I ended up making an EP in like 3 weeks after that. Made a couple more singles, beats, all type of stuff, and now we're starting to really see a whole lot more movement. I feel like once I caught on to that, I did more in like 3 or 4 months than I was able to do in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because then you're allowed to just quick fire. You just, you know what I mean? You're in that space, you're in that mindset, you're already elevated. Now you're here, you know what I mean?
Man, I grew up like I said, I didn't really pay attention in school, and it wasn't really just because I was like lazy or I didn't care or whatever. It's just I grew up with ADHD, and I didn't know that until like way late into school. And also I didn't realize I was blind. Like I needed glasses or contacts to see. So I already couldn't see the board wherever I was sitting. And then on top of that, I can't focus anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I want to get up and move and bounce like I can. Y'all see me moving right now. Like I can't really sit still like that. It's hard. But I kind of learned to use that in a way as like a superpower for my music.
Yeah.
So when I'm working, like the hyper focus of ADHD, that like hyper focus syndrome or whatever they call it, I use that when I'm working. Like if I'm in there producing or working on something, there's nothing that can distract me unless you touch me, you know?
Yeah.
Like anything could be going on and I'm there. Like, and then again, it helps me a lot with music because like ADHD kind of makes everything that's going on really obvious to you all at once. So like every detail, for example, like I'm looking at that, I'm looking at you, I'm talking to y'all. While I'm talking to y'all, there's like actual information being drawn in, like his sweater's gray, his pants are black, there's an R there that looks like a cool, like
But do you ever lose your train of thought when it get like that? Do you ever lose your train of thought? Like,
oh yeah,
you're over here, you thought, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? What was in the middle of talking?
Yeah, I'm sure there's even parts of like in this interview where I'm talking and like it's probably obvious I was going in one direction and then I went a whole nother one and talked about something completely different. But you know, I kind of learned to live with it because I tried to nullify it, tried to take like, you know, medicine for that stuff, but I became a zombie. I wasn't able to create or produce the things that I was supposed to do. And once I just decided to say, man, fuck it, this is me, and not only is it a big part of me, it kind of like helps me in ways. I just tried to use it all the time, stop caring about what people think and all that.
Yeah, because honestly, when they try to diagnose people with ADHD, I feel like it's just another way to say they gifted. Because
that's what people tell me.
I'm telling you, because you saying all of that, I'm like, yo, damn. I was telling him a while back, I was like, my brain worked like a computer. That's why I'm always like, you get what I'm saying? I see everything as soon as I walk into the room. I know what's going on.
Yeah, like you process every single detail
right? So
all at
sometimes
once.
I just pause and be in space, but it's just like I'm processing everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that because I've been trying to like tell people about that or have them understand that part of it. Like sometimes you'll think somebody ignoring you, right? And it's just because I'm stuck, like I'm paralyzed. Like every moment of every minute, every second, you're processing all this information at once, all the time.
It's
so
just
like,
annoying.
Yeah, like the way me and him are talking, some people will talk and you're thinking we're talking, we're having this conversation, and there's a million voices going off saying that's pink, that's blue, that's purple, the door's open, there's a dog outside, there's this making noise, that's a cool mixer. Then I start thinking based off that thought, it's a whole different thought happening here about music and production because I saw that mixer. And there's a whole nother thought over here about dogs and all type of other stuff. Like, while I'm still talking to y'all and having a coherent conversation. So like, it kind of helps, especially in meetings, because I'm able to express something, talk to somebody, and also intake all the information and like create a better game plan.
So what's your ultimate goal in the industry? Like 10 years from now, where is Rio Callix going to be?
I just want to have a really, really strong, impactful, and positive influence on the genre and like on music as a whole, because I'm starting to see things get oversaturated in a lot of different areas and people kind of forget certain things are still real cool. Like, we'll say, for example, the newer generations love bass heavy mixes and such, you know? And salsa as a genre, for example, isn't that heavy. It doesn't thump like that, you know? But you take something like that, you take the production, you start changing up the percussion for different newer drums that you would normally use in like a dubstep track. Take the bases of like stuff like that and mix it in, and all of a sudden you got like a whole new, you basically got like neo salsa. And then the newer generations also get to feel that same like thump, that same rumble that they love for music, and get to experience and enjoy a classical style of music that they otherwise would miss out on because they don't feel the same way they feel about other music when they listen to it. So ultimately, my goal is to try to bring all of that back in, try to unify the whole music scene, try to bring as much as I can in together and see how far I could take it. Because, I mean, like, I don't know how many people are spiritual in here, but there was, man, I was in an accident that I know should have definitely 1,000% killed me, and it didn't.
You talking to some spiritual motherfuckers.
Yeah. But
right
man,
here with you.
I had that experience, and ever since then, like, I knew for a fact I was dead. Like, the moment I got hit by a truck too, so my car got hit by two people that were racing on the road, and it was wet, It was raining out. One hit me and just kept going, but he didn't hit me that hard. But it was on a turn that he had hit me. We were all going like 65, something like that. So you're going a little bit fast, and it's raining on the curve, so my car spun out. And when it spun out, it hit the sides a couple of times, and then the truck came. A semi took the front half of my engine and my bumper and all of it, and my car spun out again. And the moment that thing hit me, I was like, yep, I died. I was like, hey, man, I did what you told me to do, I think. I hope I did it right, you know, and that was it. But then I woke up, and I was fine. Like, not a scratch on me, nothing other than my neck hurt a little bit because of the whiplash. But my car was destroyed.
He said his neck hurt a little bit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I was like, nah, I could almost feel like a hug because, like,
Yeah.
I had my seatbelt on, but I could almost feel like another seatbelt wrap me and pull me into the seat and hold me onto the seat while the
Bless
seat's
you.
spilling out. And then when the truck hit me, I felt it again, that tightness into the seat, like just nothing happened to me. You know, I didn't bounce around, I didn't hit shit, nothing hit me. And after that, I kind of had this epiphany, this feeling like, as long as you're doing what I told you to do, or what I got you here to do, you're gonna be okay.
Alright.
But the moment you deviate, like, that's it. Like, I just showed you right now, you're on borrowed time, you're on my time. So I got you here for a purpose. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then you're done. So that's also why I'm just keeping it precious.
Man, we just let's leave it there because that was just beautifully said. I can't even listen. That's wonderful. We feel your energy. We definitely feel your vibe, your spirit, and it's amazing. And keep up with the music that you're making, and you know, just keep learning, keep putting it out there, and you know, don't doubt yourself. You got it. You definitely have it.
Thank you so much.
And shout out to where we can find your music. Like, where can we listen to you at? Your social media. Spell it out if it's, you know.
Yeah,
Give
for
it to
sure.
us.
So on every social, anything with a search bar, RIOCALLIX, all together, Rio Callix, I'll pop up on anything. Like Google, Snapchat, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, it should be on it.
All right.
And I got like plenty of beats I've done for people, plenty of productions. If you hear a weird, goofy sound and like his Latin tag saying Real Callix and a whole bunch of papaya stuff after, that's me.
All right, thank you so much for coming through. We appreciate your time. Flying all the way from New York, from Chicago. That's like, you know, it's a big deal. So we appreciate you coming through, and
Thank you.
wish you all the best. Thank you.
Love your story. So
Yeah.
That's
It's inspiring. Yeah.
Final words.
What's the Ride Along New Music Monday? That's Rio Callix right here. Rough Riders Radio in the pit. That's it.
Thank you
Keep
so
it
much
locked.
for having me.
Word, that was